Time on BBC World News.
Welcome back. Now, North Korea has accused the United States of being hell-bent on hostile acts, just days after an historic meeting between the country's leaders in the demilitarized zone between north and south of the peninsula. Meanwhile, an Australian student who was apparently detained in North Korea has been released and has arrived safely now in Tokyo. Well, let's talk to Woongbee Lee, who's from the BBC's Korean service and is in the studio with me. So give me your analysis of what is actually going on, because as I mentioned there, just a couple of days, all smiles, handshakes in the demilitarized zone, and now very starkly different language.
Right, so it's almost like a 180 degrees turn on from last Sunday where we saw Kim and Trump shaking hands. Today they call U.S. hell-bent because they sent out a letter asking for other United States members to keep pressure on sanctions. So this was an outburst, but also somewhat expected, because the leaders, Trump and Kim, they can shake hands, but on the working level, when it comes to economic sanctions, North Korea is very against it. Whereas for the US, they always try to keep the pressure on the sanctions. So it's almost like a two-track strategy. They pursue peace talk on the leaders level, but when it comes to working level, there's always a scuffle when it comes to economic sanctions.
And in a sense, I suppose Donald Trump has adopted similar sort of tactics when you see the way his language lurches from side to side. Now, that other issue I mentioned there in the introduction, the return of the Australian student and man, a lot of fears, obviously, with echoes of Otto Warmbier, but he has been released and he's now out of the country.
So, I mean, we still didn't know exactly what kind of conversation took place with the related countries. But apparently we've seen pictures of him carrying his luggage, walking. Reportedly, he told reporters that he's doing okay. So experts are saying there probably wasn't any physical abuse or torture. Foreigners have been detained in North Korea before. Most common reasons are defamation act on their leaders or religious activities, which is prohibited in the country. So it's quite hard to assume that what he's actually done here. But considering that he's been posting a rather positive image of North Korea on his social media and article, it will take time for us to figure out exactly why he was detained and then why he was released.
Well, there we see the pictures after his release en route on his journey back home. Thanks for the latest on both legs of that story. Thanks so much. Now let's turn to another story here that we headline because they're supposed to be protected under